Okay, so we had Eric E. Soul giving us a little bit of the history on the first video about the birth certificate and the connection with the money and the bankers. And he was talking to us about the EIN. So we have Eric back on, and we're going to look up that form, the EIN, the foreign grantor. So I'm going to share the screen. Hi, Eric. I see you there.
Hi.
I'm going to go ahead and get the foreign grantor EIN form and share the screen so we can.
SSS, yeah, SS4.
All right. So do you see it says it right here, IRS EIN number application, federal EIN number application,
Yep,
online SS4. So this
yep.
is federal. Does that mean that we are doing some type of some type of, I don't know, connection with the federal government when we get into these EINs? Is this Washington, D.C. stuff?
Yes. Well, yes, and no, because it's really kinda hard to explain what exactly the federal government is, because it's kinda like there's a mirror for everything, so there's de jure and de facto, and
Okay.
it's like initially, the federal government was the people making uniform decision, but, things have changed with corporatization. So, the IRS is like, in a sense, they don't technically have a charter or anything, like, they're but the IRS, right after you look at the IRS paperwork, who is it dealing with? The Treasury, right? So, it's you know, a private, uh, agency that is more of the Department of the Treasury, right? Because the Department of the Treasury is is like half fraudulent is the only way that I can put it, right? So when we're saying, like, federally speaking, when with these EIN numbers, employer identification number, or exemption identification numbers, they're banking numbers, and these accounts are, in essence, federal accounts, right? They're not handled by your county or the state, so to speak. So the holders of them would be federal. So we're dealing with federal numbers here for these IRS things. And even though people say the IRS, blah, 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 is fraudulent and whatever, to be able with this commercial system for the people to be able to deal with the Treasury,
Mm,
we have, and the fact that the central bank has been a part of this country for quite a bit of time now,
mhm.
we have the IRS, right? So you get these numbers, right? And they tell you it's for this and for tax purposes, but spend years checking out Patrick Devine and find out that, wait a second, these numbers are a lot more than they're really telling us. And they never disputed any of the stuff that he was doing in regards to the things that I'm speaking about. So obviously, you know, um, there's something to it. So the
It's kind of like
IRS select an entity type.
kind of
Yeah.
like, will the real ChaYah Shalom please stand up? And we're taking
All right. So,
our
yeah,
our
partnership,
name.
um, well, we could try doing an individual banker right here now, like all
Okay.
together, if you want to, which would be a nonprofit organization. right? Or you could hold on, church and estate, deceased, limited liability, state proprietorship, individual trust, corporation, B corp. No, yeah, nonprofit organization.
When I had gone to the bank to open up my trust account, they
Yeah,
said, "Oh, are you a sole proprietor?" I was like, "I don't know. I think I'm a
yeah.
trust."
See, they want to put you in that because they can control the sole proprietor. Is to put it real simply. Like how would take me a little while to explain, and I'm not as good as some as far as that goes, but like, yeah, they want you to say you're the sole proprietor, right?
Mm,
So if you make a claim as an individual here, you most definitely have to then make sure that you do a 56 because that is the individual fiduciary relationship, right? So you have to have, like, besides these numbers, you have to have the other number that's the fiduciary document, right? Like, notice when we set up these trusts, who's the fiduciary of your trust? Haya.
hmm. I think
Do
that
you know?
they had, yeah, I think when I had gone to the guru person, they had sent in to Puerto Rico and to Janet Yellen, the F-56.
Yes. So it goes into both secretaries of the Treasury, the one in the United States and the one in Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah,
So,
Maldonado or something like that.
like, yeah. So as the grantor and the trustee and benefactor for my irrevocable trust, I could take very little action to do anything to function as a trustee because every move that I was making, I had to go through the fiduciary, right?
And
We
so,
got a raised
okay, so
hand.
I'm sorry, I had my hand up.
Yeah, we got a raised hand. Allison would like to interject. Go ahead, Allison.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so you go through Puerto Rico because the Treasury Department is in Puerto Rico, correct?
yes.
Okay, just
And
learning.
all your accounts, all everyone's accounts are held by the Secretary of the Treasury in Puerto Rico,
Okay,
right? So they play it back and forth because the United States Treasury can't handle all that money in those accounts. It would be
yeah.
fraudulent. So it's all held there
Offshore.
offshore. And
Ah,
then, so then people are trying to deal with this Secretary of the Treasury, right? In the United States, you get nowhere. I mean, I
uh-huh.
can't tell you how much stuff I sent to
Exactly.
her.
I got
Yeah.
another
Like,
question.
so,
Go ahead.
and then it's like, well, what is the fiduciary? The fiduciary, right? So when you become the individual banker, you become the fiduciary, right?
Okay,
Fiduciary, if you look it up and you look up like as far as legal definitions and you look at old English and law, fiduciary means father
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
in a financial sense. But yeah, so Jesus was fiduciary for the
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
right? So, you know, so like this way you're becoming the fiduciary, right, of all the things that have your name. It doesn't matter whether you created it or not, right? They created it from you, right? And they didn't pay. Okay, so but according to charter law, they have a statutory obligation. They are liable. They are the charterer and the
mm-hmm.
sub-charterers of your vessel. You didn't know that you owned it, but you had to take certain action getting these numbers, your estate and your foreign grantor trust. Your foreign grantor trust number makes you an American owner, grantor, mort gagor. over your birth certificate vessel. Right? So when you go and you buy a piece of property and you sign a mortgage, you become the mortgagee, right? So as far as your Social Security account goes, the Social Security Administration is the mortgagee. Mortgagee. So Mortgagee, right? You're the mortgagor, right? It's your account. They chartered your vessel. Now, they get beneficial ownership and beneficial use of your goods, right? And they can profit, right? But they're supposed to pay rent.
Mm.
The taxes and bills, according to charter law, are supposed to be paid by the charterer, right? The sub-charterers, not us, the people, right?
Wow.
So, but we have to have this stuff in place to have the
Right.
authority to say, listen, this is your dues. So, when we are getting these three numbers, you can't get the foreign grantor trust, even though some people have said you can get it online. You can't get foreign grantor trust if it's in a 9-8 number. You're not going to get it online. You have to call. I mean, I listened to videos. I talked to a bunch of other people. I was back and forth with the bad wolf. You know, we're talking. I did like a consultation. I'm like sending stuff out. I'm trying to deal with like Patrick Devine stuff, but then I'm trying to do this other stuff. Meanwhile, I'm learning about the passport with the bad wolf, and applying what I'm learning with Patrick with that, right? So the foreign grantor trust we call, and it's a little scary, but it's not that bad, right? If you're calm, you take a couple breaths, you can just take an SS4,
Yeah.
and bring it up, and like I can explain it to you like online. Like
Let's
we
try
bring
it.
up the form, so just bring up the SS4 form, right? And we'll do that. Now, it's great to go in here and do nonprofit organization and go through and get your individual banker number right here. But the estate, the second time I did it online, but that was after I was having trouble figuring out, when you do your estate, you have to declare the Social Security person dead.
Mm.
And it took me 3 tries to get it right, right? I got thrown out for 3 days and I had to keep going back in, right? Because I was trying to. Yes,
What's the difference between
you raised your hand?
yeah, what's the difference between estate and trust? Because when I went to the post office and I told them I have an estate trust, they go, which one? Which one? I go, well, I think it's a trust. They go,
Oh,
are you sure?
wow.
What's the
Well,
difference?
You should have said
you
both.
can you can smile at them. You can smile at them and say both, right? So,
Mm.
example, ERS, individual banker, private bank, estate and trust, ENT, right? So that's how I have mine set up, right? And I asked them to make my foreign grantor trust an estate and trust. So what did they do? They put my first and middle name all capital, right? And 4 spaces, right?
Mhm.
That all by itself will designate an estate if it doesn't say estate, right?
Oh,
So mine goes Eric Robert, 4 spaces, Sollenberger TR, right? And that's my 9-8 number. So it's an estate and trust. My banker number says ENT, so it's an estate and trust. the point is that you can't have a trust without an estate. There has to be an estate
Yeah.
first, right? The trust is based off the estate,
Mm-hmm.
more or less, right? So you can have an estate of the mind, right, that you create on paper, right? But like still, an estate is established first. It is what is the substance of what is the trust,
Okay.
right? So
So that, do you know that guru that I
obviously
went
you are
through?
so
That guru that I went through did not do the 3. He only did 1 EIN and it says trust. How could he then, is it
right.
because he was using the birth certificate claim on the UCC 1 that he made that the estate and then he did the trust? Is that how he could maybe?
Well, it's like they'll tell you that you have an estate and trust. It's your trust, right? So I have an irrevocable trust. The
Yeah.
guy says it even says like once or twice in my trust, right? It mentions estate. But like when I asked them about foreign granted trust number, they told me $125 and they get the number, but it was unnecessary, right? Then I asked about the estate. They told me that I didn't know what I was talking about and I didn't need that, right? So then I just started studying Patrick and I started then also studying some others and I started getting these numbers and learning what they were about. And I realized that regardless of this place setting up a pretty decent trust, other than that, they didn't do anything for me. They couldn't explain anything.
Yeah.
Once after they made all these promises and I established the trust, they told me, "Oh, well, it's just for you to discharge debt." And all the other stuff. I said, "Wait, I got this bank account. I need to try and start addressing these things." And they're like, "Oh, that like they wouldn't answer my questions." Then they told me it was $150 for a consultation. So I put the trust to the side and said, "Great. I'm glad I have this.
Yeah.
I'll consistently learn about operating private trust and express trust, like how to move things." But then I was started learning from Patrick that it really isn't like the fact that it's all trusts is an illusion because they created the UCC, which is remedy for us dealing with through trust. However, it's commercial remedy with
Mm-hmm.
something that is private,
Mm-hmm.
which it's like, well, then how is that being private, right? So even if you have a private trust, if you have a UCC 1 and a UCC 3, it's
Yeah.
not really private. It's just
Right.
not,
That's public.
and it's like, yes, it's international, right? But it's international commercial, right? So it's in maritime. So if you are a vessel owner, you can file a maritime lien, which is in equity in Article 3 court with your constitutional rights based on elemental documents called the Declaration of Independence and the um, Expatriation Act of 1868. All constitutional and charter laws, um, ensuring the rights of ship owners and owner Caesar clause, and it's like one other document. Like, and then I mean, you can pull in international stuff, and then you can pull banking law. But that's the thing. Like, there's times you have to like understand what person, who you're dealing with, what agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you want to be like, oh, I'm claiming the Homestead Treaty, right? I'm under that for this issue, right? But then other times you're functioning as a different office. So
Mm-hmm.
then you're not going to use that at all. You don't even want to come near that because then that's going to draw you into some other law that they can get you on with some other stuff over here. So it's like, I'm constantly like learning about this stuff and being like, oh, no wonder. So I mean, it's great and all, but it's just like there's so much to
Yeah,
understand,
because
right?
I remember
But
another guy that I talked to, Robert, he was telling me that Christopher Robert, he was telling me that Patrick
yeah,
Devine and them they found out later that a 98 EIN can be taxed. They found out later. And
well, again, the point is, if you, it's the way you set up these things, right? So, like, when I set up my foreign grantor trust, like when you're doing the address, right? And it's a zip code,
yeah,
right? And you do the rest of it properly and you write in all capital letters exempt, right? Like, and then everything that I have when it comes to the foreign grantor trust, when it comes down to where the zip code is, I write all capital or type all capital exempt, right? It's an exempt account. But
so
then you have to tie the stuff together. How do you prove that? Your 56F, like I was saying, shows the fiduciary is the bank over the first your estate and your foreign grantor trust, right? So
cool.
your
So
bank
hang on
is
a quick second.
nonprofit organization.
So let me ask you a quick question in there. If, like, I have a YouTube channel and I want to get paid for commercialization, which they've been holding my monies, I gave them that it's a trust. I have a bank account that it's a trust, but because they didn't have the space on there, I guess I could have put care of, but when it's online digitally, I think that they prevent you from doing that. And then I didn't put exempt on the zip. I didn't know about that, but they also said we need further documentation.
So
Wait, hang on a second. Couldn't I send them
so what
over the fiduciary F-56 that I have for Puerto Rico? Couldn't I send them that? That fiduciary. Oh, there's a spider here.
well well, that just means that, like, you're saying that the Secretary of the Treasury is a fiduciary. It doesn't like they're going to do their best to get taxes from you any kind of way that they can. They're trying to keep you commercial, right? No matter what.
Right,
Now,
right.
like you got people like Yusef that like use whatever money you make on a channel to offset what you're doing with and you function commercially. Like I get that and I can respect that, but I mean the thing that like with the address stuff, instead of doing care of, you can do you could still do instead of putting PA, right? Like for me, that would be two capital. I'd still write out Pennsylvania, and then I'd put my 9-digit zip, my my private
They don't,
mailbox.
on the digital thing, they don't give you,
So the 5 digits and a dash and the
it
4.
won't give you the extra 4-digit
Right.
thing on the online stuff, digital.
Like like if they don't let you like my thing is like I don't I'm not going to contract with some like with who I consider the devil.
Yeah,
I like no, you're not going to I'm not going to compromise who and what I am to have a relationship with you to possibly make some money so that you can keep me in a certain jurisdiction.
right.
So, I believe there's ways to do it because Lord, look, Bad Wolf has been national, has his own nation, right, for quite a bit of time now. And He's got a channel. He's got 5 YouTube channels, and like he's doing something. He's making money. In a lot of different ways. He's handling it. I don't. He's got a foreign grant of trust. Like we talked about that. Like we were back and forth. He was just starting to get interested in that when I was getting mine. Right. So then I told him, I sent him whatever stuff I had. Like, yeah, this is what I did. This is what I said, and then he was doing videos about calling and doing it himself and what he had been studying and stuff. Right. So, like
where should we start here? Like, do we start with the
numbers
foreign grantor trust, or do we start with the estate? Or I already have the trust, but I don't have the foreign grantor.
I would do the estate first, right? And even though I almost want to say do the individual banker first, do the estate first, because all the stuff that is obligatory and debt for you and everybody else is the Social Security number, right? It is the charterer number, not your number, their number for your vessel.
Wait.
So that all debt is tied to that.
So, that particular guru that I don't recommend, because I don't like him. He didn't give me any he didn't give me any instructions whatsoever, and it sucks. And he dropped me because I asked him, hey, this thing looks like it says it has an EIN and I'm supposed to do something. He goes, I already told you, don't ask me tax questions. We're dropping you, and I'm going to refund you your money for your 1-hour consultation that you're probably going to forget anyways. So anyways, what I have is a bunch of papers that I don't know how to use. Now, the thing that it is that it says it's a declaration of trust, an irrevocable trust organization. You keep saying estate, and you say EIN for a individual banker and also the foreign grantor trust. So what is this that he did for me? If this is a trust.
Well, okay, so you have as far as you have the trust that like your average lawyer will draw up, which is totally commercial and they'll get you somewhere somehow for sure, right? Then you have irrevocable, revocable, you have a family trust. So an irrevocable trust is more or less a UBOT, which would be an unincorporated business trust.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Say that again. It's a what?
Unincorporated business trust.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, it's like it's always about. So the trust is about the estate, the trust, right? It's about like so it's about it being an unincorporated business, right? Not an incorporated business.
Right.
So I've had a trust since October 2021. And it's great. I have a banging bank account that has $5 in it, right? Like, I got tired of asking and filing paperwork and like not being able to do anything. And I'm pretty good with like what the roles are as what a trustee is supposed to be able to do. And if I could do those things as a trustee for the trust, I could not only take better care of my son and possibly at the same time slap some sense into him because he's just, a stubborn young man who sometimes is a little too stupid for my own good. But anywho, so I mean, I spent years like worrying about being the beneficial owner, only to find out that they're the beneficial owner. right? You are either benefactor and or beneficiary, right? And so, like,
Well, it does say that
you
I'm the
know, when
trustee.
you start an irrevocable trust,
It says I'm the trustee, and then my children are the beneficiaries of the trust. Because it's irrevocable, it's the all
right?
caps name dead person.
Listen, I made my son beneficiary and trustee. He doesn't have the ability to be the trustee capabilities that I do. However, almost there. But he gets a limit to what he's able to do money wise and what he's able to execute. But he doesn't even want to learn about it. So it's just like, well, then listen, dude, you can sit there and complain about nobody does anything for you, but you better start doing something for yourself. This is here, but I'm not gonna run it for you. And like, no, you want to be the beneficiary, you better learn to be the beneficiary. Anywho,
Okay, hang
what
on.
I've learned through Patrick is like,
We have 9 minutes left. I do want to
what?
get this particular thing.
Okay.
But really fast, I just wanted to interject that on the hold harmless and indemnity.
Estate of deceased individual.
Hang on a second. Just a second. Let me just explain.
Yes.
On the hold harmless and indemnity agreement, it says that the debtor is the all caps name trust. And then on the other side, it says that the trustee secured party is my name that's in the lowercase with the hyphen and the colon, and it's two separate addresses.
Right.
So, and it does, the trust identifies with the number of the social security number, by the way. But, because it is an EIN,
Right.
got both the social security number and the EIN. And that's how they have it at the bank too. I said, hey, I don't think you're supposed
So,
to need
in
to.
a sense, right.
Oh,
But so it's still right. So that's the thing. It's still linked to the social security person, right? So, and the social security person is still a chartered vessel of the charterer, right? So you have this trust, but yet you still like they're still holding the stuff, they're still controlling it through the social security person, right?
right.
So you have to kill that person and say, hey, no, that's my estate. Right. So then it's your estate. Hey, charterers.
Mhm.
I mix. You're no longer in service. I no longer require your services.
Mm.
Your rents are due for the beneficial usury and ownership of my vessel, including all taxes and bills. They will be forwarded to you to be dealt with upon receipt, or you will be taken to court in a maritime claim. The end. Like so. And you put so we have to state these things. We have to submit these things in a certain way. So it's like, look, this goes in that you are the owner to that vessel. It's no longer this thing of like you're trying to find all these ways, like the trust, to use it, right? Like, then you can decide what you want to do with your trust, right? Like, so my plan is I'm going to liquidate it and I'm going to roll it into my estate, right?
What is
And
the
then just
thing that,
do everything as like,
which is the one that we picked to start this ball rolling?
okay, so I would say, it it depends on preference. So either the individual banker or the estate, but I would say the estate because
Which
you
one?
can start using the estate number like when you do your endorsement on the back of a bill, right? you want to have it set off. You do your endorsement on the back of the bill. Above it, there's going to be a Treasury Indemnity Bond number, or an exemption bank routing number, whatever, however you want to frame that term. And then you're going to have a line, and you put your estate number. Right now, if you wanted to deal with that, you would put your social security number with no dashes. Right?
This says
That's your
state of
exemption number
deceased
for your
individual.
vessel.
Are you
right?
talking about this one? The one that says estate of deceased individual?
Yes.
So everybody should be
Yes.
doing this one first? I don't know.
Yes.
One that guy,
Yep.
I don't think that this is the one that guy did for me. I think he did this one right here is what the legal.
No, it's not. You have one that doesn't really have to do with any of this, and it's really not going to make a difference. It's
Gotcha.
like it's a trust, and it's great that a bunch of these things were addressed by you activating the trust and what this person did, just like what they did for me. But it was only like a small little piece, right? So
Oh,
this
this is the
estate of
one.
deceased individual, the deceased individual is your Social Security person. So you're taking ownership of that vessel by doing this.
Oh. So if
All
people
right. So
wanted to start this ball
hold
rolling,
on.
it would pick on this
Yep.
one, estate of the deceased individual.
So now remember, deceased individual, it's going to be the all caps name.
Yep.
Right? It's going to be the Social Security name. Right? So like
Right.
generally, however it is on the front of your Social Security card, although sometimes people will get another card and they'll end up sending it and the name will be different. But yeah.
So it doesn't
So
automatically go in all caps. You kind of have to put it in all caps, right?
They do
right.
everything that cause tricks,
Well,
you know.
and it says what? Last name or first name?
Oh,
First.
first name first. Okay. So Eric.
I can't. Right. So you're right. And then right, middle name optional, because that's the other thing you got to read in the Social Security manual. But part of them creating the account and stuff, and then they'll use your name. They'll drop the middle name. Right.
Yeah. Sometimes on the Social Security
It's
card,
a long story.
it's only an initial for the middle name. That's how I have it on.
Right. So, and then so then representative executor, right? So then it's the so you'd have, like, I guess, like, doing it this way, so it'd be Eric and the dash, then jump down. Well, yeah, you could do it like that, and then the colon, put the colon after the Robert, and then put the
Look at
last
it
name.
doesn't let you use those.
Because no, you put the colon after the Robert.
It doesn't let you use it. It says the only special characters allowed are dash and. But let's move on. Let's see.
Oh, really? So this is like, man, they're trying to bust up the see,
Yeah.
this is why a lot of the time it can be better to do the form, just do the form and send it in, even though it takes a little longer.
I got you.
Right?
Paper form.
Because then you can write it that way and it doesn't matter. Right? Yeah. So, but
Be the
okay, so we'll
executor, right?
just leave it that way, right? So title executor, right?
Okay.
Wait. Yes. And then
Let's do the EIN.
executor, legal personal representative address, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, Social Security number. Yes. You put the Social Security number
Of the
right?
dead person, right?
Representative executor. Right. So I put my Social Security number, right? The normal one with the dashes and all, right?
Okay.
Because you're declaring that person dead, right? And but notice it's at the bottom of the section that says executor, right? You're an executor for that dead person that you're
Okay.
putting at the bottom, right? That
Okay.
social security number. Then you go down to the next box, the legal personal representative address. PO boxes are not
Okay.
authorized,
We've got
but
less than a minute.
care
We're going to
of
get cut off, so we
is.
can do another video.